Howdy. I don't know why I said howdy. Hello. I'm in terrible pain. Uh, yeah, I just wanted to talk about being in pain, basically. So, what I just did was I tried to, I woke up and then I fed my cat. I prayed the rosary, which is my usual morning routine. And then um, I always feel, not always, but most of the time, I feel something in my heart. It's almost like a force or like a spirit, like the Holy Spirit, I think. And it's like a good feeling. And then I praise God. So I praise to the Holy Mighty One, Holy Immortal One, Holy Eternal One, and pray to the Most High. That's how I think of God the Father Almighty. And then I pray thanks and I pray worship and uh, thanks for His great glory. And um, that's how I pray to God the Father Almighty. Um, cause there's nothing else really to do except for pray thanks for that glory, which it's like a feeling really. It's like there's nothing else but gratitude for that. It's like pure goodness, but also beyond that. It's ineffable. You can't describe it. Um, or you can only describe it using words like clunky words or metaphors. Actually, some people say that poetry is the most direct form of communication because it's an expression of feelings. And I think that's partly why there's poems in the Bible. But so then I prayed that, and then I did stretches because my back, I have like a herniated disc apparently. Well, I guess it is apparent. I went to the chiropractor and he showed me on the X-ray, and he's helping with it. So I'm thankful for that, and I'm doing the stretches because um, that helps it as well. So they're basically just like yoga stretches, and so it's like child's pose and um, happy baby pose. I don't know if you're familiar with those, but it's just ones to stretch your lower back. And then so after that, um, I also fasted yesterday, so I haven't eaten anything for like, I don't know, like over 24 hours, I guess. So that, I mean, fasting and prayer is it's something that's recommended, uh, especially in the Orthodox Church, I think. But um, fasting, it puts your body into a state of ketosis. So your body starts burning ketones instead of glucose, I believe. Um, and you you get more clarity is one thing that people notice, and there's some other effects as well. Um, but yeah, fasting is healthy for people. They always say do it under your doctor's advice because there's probably a small portion of people that might have some sort of adverse effect if they don't have sugar. Um, but fasting is generally quite healthy, and there's other stuff about it too, autophagy and. But anyway, so then I prayed and then I did the stretches, and I'm on a fast, and I thought, well, why don't I do meditation? Just see how long I could go. If I could do 5 minutes, that'd be good. Because I used to do meditation about 10 years ago. I was kind of quite into it. I'm 30 now, so back when I was around 20, um, I used to watch somebody on YouTube. It was that Leo Gura guy, actualize.org, which I don't really, not a huge fan anymore, but there was some stuff he was saying that was, you know, pretty good, but ultimately I don't think he had a great message. But um, there was stuff that he was saying that was good, and it was the not the fasting, the meditation thing was important, and that is actually pretty useful, and I'll explain what happened. So I was sitting there, and within the first, like, 15 seconds, 30 seconds, I started to feel a lot of pain. Um, and so, I sat through it, and I kept sitting through it, but what that really tells me is that I'm just in pain all the time, and I just don't really notice it. But once I start to bring my presence into my body, or into stillness, without a bunch of distraction and thinking, um, or moving around, or trying to, distract somehow, I just started to feel a lot of pain. So I felt like really terrible pain in my back, and terrible pain in the back of my head too, actually. And even when I touch my head, it's like kind of tender, but um, so I think that I'm just kind of like always in pain. I just don't fully recognize it or acknowledge it, um, which kind of makes sense to me, because I don't fully feel like, um, I don't know about there, but I don't fully feel like I process things like other people do as much. And this probably varies depending on who, but because like I don't find stuff enjoyable very much. Um, like life is not that uh, enjoyable, I guess you could say, for me. And I don't know if it's like anhedonia, the inability to feel joy or pleasure, but yeah, I don't know. I don't process things very well, but uh, I would say that just meditating and sitting with it is actually kind of good. It's like a good idea, um, because I think that it's sort of like being present, I guess you could say, and like sitting with it instead of just trying to avoid the pain. And I'm not really doing it for like a masochistic reason in order to feel the pain and enjoy the pain. I'm just like, I probably do need to feel the pain instead of try to numb it. And so the way I think about it, kind of, is, in a way, is that um, if if pain is like a barrier, let's say on this side I'm numbed out, and then here's the pain as the barrier, and then on this other side is like experiencing and feeling good things, or peace, joy, happiness, other things. If I'm always on here, and then whenever I come close to the pain and it's too much, and I can't sit with it, and then I go and try and do something to distract myself, I'm always just going back here, and then swirling around in here somehow. Uh, Distraction and whatever. But then if I go closer to the pain that my body's like always in, and then I try to distract it again somehow, watching YouTube, pornography. That used to be my huge distraction, and actually I relapsed, and I feel awful and ashamed and embarrassed about it. But I prayed for forgiveness, and like that's another conversation. But um, if I always just bounce off the barrier of pain, you know what I'm saying? I never really go past it and go into the feeling better, or feeling, I don't know about better, but feeling present, and then somehow feeling peace or joy or something like that. Um, so, anyways, that's my way of saying that. I'm in pretty bad pretty bad pain, and I don't really like to whine or complain at all. Actually, I just it's almost like at a functional level. It's like I um I've pushed myself to not feel pain so much and just try and get things done so much, but that doesn't really it doesn't work. It's kind of funny because it's just kind of like stupid in a way because it sounds obvious. Like just sort of putting myself onto autopilot and something like that. I don't know, stoicism or something, and just trying to like ram through everything. Doesn't fully work, but I will say that there's a balance because at the same time, I think it's important to get things done. Um, so anyway, that's my whole rant about that. But the other thing I got now is I ordered uh, I ordered um, a filter, like a water filter for my cold plunge tank. So I ordered this. I have this cold plunge tank, which I got. I guess it was about like a year ago, November of 2024, perhaps, and I just had it outside. And so I live in Canada, so I filled it with water, um, and then just having it outside in November, it got cold enough outside that I could just use it, and it was like super cold water. But it started to get too cold, so it started with like a layer of ice on top, and then I'd smash through the ice and just jump in there, and it was so cold. Like it was like extremely cold. Extremely did not want to do it. It's really like a forcing yourself to break through that wall and do it type of thing. And then once you're in there, it's like every part of you wants to get out. So it's like forcing yourself to hit the next wall. That's how Andrew Huberman puts it, is that he goes by walls. So the first wall is getting in, because that's like really hard. Now once you're in, you may hit the second wall within like 10 seconds, then staying through the second wall. And then, you might hit another wall around 45 seconds or a minute. And so he goes through walls. That's how he times his cold plunge, and it makes sense to me, honestly, just having done it. And then, so it froze into a solid block of ice, and it was like I couldn't I couldn't even move the dang thing because it was like it had to stay there all winter until it turned into like spring and then almost summer, because the thing took forever to melt too. So it's like this huge tub of ice. It's not like super big. It's just big enough so that you could get your whole body in. You could even dunk your head, and it's a little bit of an oval shape. And then, so I had that, and then now I moved, and now at my new place, I wanted to have the cold plunge inside. So I have it inside. I have enough room to have it inside, and then I filled it up, and it's hard to keep it cold. And then the thing I bought an aquarium chiller. So an aquarium chiller, you can um, keep the water cold, because it's for like a cold water fish. It's like for shrimp and stuff, to keep it into their habitat. And I bought that because it's cheaper than buying a cold plunge chiller, and it's the same thing. And so then with that, um, it was working good, but then the water got really scuzzy and dirty after a week. And so I was like, okay, so now I got to get a filter. So I was took a while, but I got the filter, and then um, it didn't come with all the parts. I had to go get like the attachment fittings. So I went yesterday to Home Depot, and I really did not want to go in. I actually like got out of my car to go into Home Depot, and then I like turned back around and I like went back to my car, just because I didn't want to still talk to people like or anything. And then I was like, no, I can do it. I can do it. And it sounds silly, but like I have really bad social anxiety, uh, especially sometimes, and especially about kind of doing things by myself. So, anyways, I got back out, and then, or especially doing things where I don't know what's gonna happen exactly. You know what I mean? Because I was worried about like, well, what if something goes wrong? I don't even know what I was thinking, but it was kind of along those lines of like, well, what if uh, they think that I stole something because I was walking in with the parts for the filter that I could so that I could measure it when I was looking at the different fittings. So it was like all these like different thoughts and whatever. But anyways, I went in and then I was like looking through um, the fittings and everything. It took me quite a while, but I did find it. It was 3/4 inch, um, like fitting for the threads, and then I think a 1/2 inch for the little nozzle piece, and uh, and I found everything there, and I was happy about that. And I didn't have to ask anybody anything. I kind of would have, but there didn't really seem to be anybody that I was willing to ask, because there was somebody there working there with like a turban on, as like a East Indian guy, and I just didn't want to ask him. Like, um, I know it sounds racist, but I'm just like, it's kind of like my experience has not been great with East Indians, especially asking them anything that's a little bit more than than a direct, easy, basic question, because it's like they don't understand. And I know it's not all of them, but the majority, it's like it's always like there's like a weird language barrier. And uh, and so, anyways, as I'm looking, that same East Indian guy, he comes walking past with a group of like East Indian customers, and they're all speaking in Hindi or Punjabi or something. And then there's some other guy over there. He's like speaking in like some African language or something. And it's like Canada is like completely screwed. Canada sucks, man. Canada is not like the same country it was 20 years ago. Seriously, it sucks. It sucks. And so anyways, I got these fittings and stuff. And then I came home and I assembled it, and it actually went together. I was like, yes. I actually did it. So that was nice. But I still have to use the thing, and it's really cold. So today I'm probably gonna try and use it at some point. Um, and I think maybe the last thing I gotta get is there's like some sort of like a solution you can put in it that will keep the water somewhat more clean. Maybe like a antibacterial or something. I don't know. But anyways, so that's my whole point. And like the cold plunge, I think it's good for a lot of different things. It's also supposed to be good for like anxiety. It's supposed to be good for, I think, even like depression. I think it'll raise your free testosterone. I think it has some other effects. It'll increase your brown fat, which I think brown fat is a different type of fat than just your regular white fat. Brown fat is more resistant to cold, so your body actually gains some cold adaptation. It's possible to do that. I think that's how people winter train, when they swim underneath the ice and stuff like that. Like, or people who live in extremely cold climates. um, like Eskimos and the Inuit and Eskimos or the Inuit, whatever you want to call them, and people who live in like northern Russia, in the Yakutsk. Um, so I think that that's a good thing. And like the city I live in here in Canada, it's one of the cold. I think it's one of the top 10 coldest cities in the world, and it does get to be pretty cold. Like, minus 30 Celsius, minus 40 Celsius and Fahrenheit, which they converge at that point. They're both minus 40. It can get up to that level of cold. So, and it lasts for about 5 months. Well, it's really cold for like at least 3 months, probably more like 4 months, and the winter itself will last about 6 months. So it's a pretty cold winter. But I used to actually run outside in the cold, and I liked it, but I actually ran at like way too cold once, and I had actually two times where it was way too cold, and I think because I was just trying to like I was basically just trying to push myself, and I was listening to a lot of David Goggins at the time, I think, and so I think I overpushed myself on two occasions. One where it was minus 27 Celsius, and I think it was like way too cold. And I actually kind of felt like I was gonna die, but I lived. So, like I thought I might freeze to death or something. And then on the other one, it was kind of stupid because I ran in a hoodie. It wasn't minus 27. It would have been like maybe minus 10 or something like that. Maybe a little colder than that. I'm not sure. But I ran in a hoodie, and what happened was I sweat, and I was doing fine when I was sweating, but then I ran too far, and uh, I turned around, and I like basically the cold started to get to me because I had sweat too much, and I got really cold, like really cold, and there was this like warming air like hut or warming building in the park that I was running at. So thank God for that. And I went in there, and I like was able to get a little bit warm, but I didn't even have a cell phone on me or anything. And also I didn't really even want to ask anybody or anything because I don't really like asking people for stuff because they freak out sometimes too much for me, and I just don't like that. If I were to say like, I'm freezing to death, can I use your phone or something? I don't know. It just feels embarrassing, which I know it sounds probably silly because like if it's an emergency, then. But at the same time, I don't even want to do anything until maybe it was like truly an emergency. I don't know. I have a different threshold for what's an emergency and what's not because I don't really feel things too much. Um, so, anyways, I do think, just going back to the beginning point, I do think meditation and sitting through pain, I think that's pretty valuable. I think that's pretty important. So I'm gonna keep trying to meditate, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not always that consistent with stuff either. So I'll keep trying to do it, but hopefully I can be a little more consistent with it. And yeah, anyway, that's all.